All right, I welcome you all to Blink Tech and IT Consult. I remain your friend and instructor, Kenneth Akushie. And in today's video, I'm going to be putting you through how you can create your hero cover page, okay, with just your HTML and CSS. Now, this cover page, it covers both your logo and your links, then with your background image. So let's go into the class and see what we've got. Now, I just opened a blank Visual Studio, okay, and here is just a page, that a folder that I just created. So I just added two pictures. So one for my logo, and then one is just a background picture that I just added into the folder. Okay. So here, if we come over here, you can see this is the folder. Okay. So if I open it, then you can see the two items. So these are just the two informations I just added, which are the two pictures. So now back to the Visual Studio. Now, what I'll just do here now is just to create my index, okay? Index.html. Then I also come again, new file, I'll create style.cxs, okay? So those are the two things I need, the index and the style. Now, the index will be for the HTML and the style for the CSS. So next thing, I'll call my HTML. So inside the index, I type my HTML. Then I'm going to select HTML5 because that's the current one we are using. So now here, I'm going to change the title. I can give it Blink Tech. So you can just give it any name depending on the name of your website. So you can give it the title. Now here in the body, I'm going to create the header tag. Okay, then I'm also going to create the main tag and then the footer tag. Okay, so it's very important to have these three so that you can section your website properly. Okay, then this everything that we are going to do is going to be on the header tag. Okay, so I'm just going to give this header an ID. Okay, then I can call the ID cover. You can call it, can give it any name. Okay, then the next thing I'll need to do is to link the HTML and the CSS so that whatever I style here, it will reflect here. So to do that, I'll come to the title and I'll tap enter to enter the next line. Then I'll call link. Okay, then inside this href, at that point where your cursor is blinking, I'm just going to type style.css, which is the name I gave to the style. So I have successfully linked these two. Okay, so I'll come over to my style now to start styling. First thing, I'll call my universal selector. I'll say margin. So I'll put margin as 0, then which is for outside space. Then I'll also put padding as 0 to also cover any internal space. So I'll just use this for now. Then the next thing I'll need to do is to call that ID. So to call an ID, you use hashtag. So now what name did I give to that ID? So this this hashtag represents this ID. Okay, then the name I gave to it is cover. So here I'll now type cover. Okay, then I'll open my curly bracket and break it apart. I'll give it a width. So the width will be 100%. Okay, then the height should go for 100 VH. So we are using the value height. So we use 100 VH. Then we are going to use background image. Okay, so we'll call background image. Then we'll say URL. Okay, so inside the URL, you can use single quote or double quote. Now, I did not add the image inside any folder, so I'll just call it, I'll just call the name. So the name is 01 hyphen. So you can see it, I've already popped up, so you can just select it. Now, if I come back here, I'll come back to my index, right click on it, and then I'll copy part. Okay, then I'll go over to my browser. Then I'll right click here and paste that stuff that I just copied. Then tap your enter key. So you can see the image that I just added. Okay, but you notice that it's duplicated. So I want it to cover. So what I'll just do, I'll come back to my CSS. Then I'll add some codes here. I'll say background size. So the background size should go for cover. Then the background repeats should go for no repeat. So background repeat should go for no repeat. So now if I go back to my browser and refresh, you can see we now have one full page. Now let's go for the logo and the link. Okay, so to do that, we come back to our index, then in between the opening tag and the closing tag of this header, which is here. So here is the in between of the opening and the closing. You break it apart, then you are going to create a div, okay, which is a separate container. So this div, I'm going to give it a class. So the name I will give to this class is log link, so which means this div is for my logo and my link. That's why I called it log link. Okay, so now to call a class, I will put full stop. So this full stop represent that class. Then I'll say log link, okay, which is the name I gave to it. Then open your curly bracket and break it apart. Then I'll give it a width. So the width should go for 100%. Okay, then the height should go for 100 px. Okay, then the next thing is background color. So I can just use any color. I can use orange. Now if I go back to my browser and refresh, I will have this container. Okay, so now the next thing is for us to add our logo and our link. So in between the opening and the closing of this div, so I'm going to put my cursor in between and I'll break it apart. Then I'm going to create two extra divs. So this is the one for the logo and this is the one for the link. So that's why I call this log link, because it's going to hold these two for me. So this first one, I'll give it a class, sorry. So I'll give it a class and I'll call the class logo. Okay, so the second one, I'm also going to give it a class and I'll call this one link. Okay, so we'll come to our CSS to style those two. Now I will say dot logo, then I'll open curly brackets, give it a width. The width can go for 15%. Okay, then the height should still remain 100 px. Okay, then background color. So background color, I can just use red. So you can use any color of your choice just to see your container. So here you can see the red div, okay, which is for the logo. Then the next one is the link. So I will say dot link, then open my curly brackets. I'll give it a width. So the width I can use 30%, depending on the number of information you want on your link. So the height, I'll put it as maybe the height should still go for 100 px, sorry. Then the background color, I can use aqua. So you can use any color of your choice. So I can use aqua. Then if I go back and refresh, now you can see the link div is now here, but we want these two to be beside each other. Okay, so to do that, I'll come back to the log link because this is the one holding the both of them. So I'll add some code to this. I'll say display flex. So I'll add display flex. Now once I add display flex and come and refresh, you can see the both of them are now in the same line. Then I will add justify content space around. So I will say justify content space around. Now if I go and refresh, you can see, so we now have this container for our logo and this one will be for our link. Now the next thing, I will come back here and I will add my logo. So this is the div for the logo. So I will come in between the opening and the closing. I will break it apart. Then I will call my img tag, which is for image tag. Then I will type in my logo name here, okay, because I did not add it into any folder. So I'll just type it. The logo name is blank underscore logo.png. So I'll just select it. Now if I go back and refresh, you can see my logo. Okay, so now the next thing is to make this logo to size and fit into this box. So now to do that, I'll come back to my style. Then I'll come and say dot logo, because that image tag, this image tag is inside this div. Okay, so I'll first of all call this div before I will access this logo. So I'll say dot logo, then space img, okay, which is the image tag inside the logo div. Then I will say width. So the width, I can just give it a width of 80 Okay, so just to check, so it's still too big, so I can reduce it to maybe 40%. So I'll still go and check. So now this size is okay. Okay, so the next thing is to make this logo to fit into the center. So I'll go to the red div, which is the logo div where it is. Then I'll put display flex to it. Then display flex. Then I'll add align items. Align items should go for center. Then justify content should also go for center. Okay, so now if I refresh, you can see our logo is now at the center. Now the next thing is to add our links, okay, which is the menu bars like the home, the about. So to do that, this is the link div. So I'll come in between the opening and the closing. I'll break it apart. Then I'll call my a tags. So I use my a tags to create my link. So inside this href, this is where you add your link. Okay, so in between the opening and the closing, that's where you add the name, which is exactly where the cursor is blinking. So I will add home. So I can just copy this and just duplicate it to save time. So I'll just copy it and control V, control V, control V, control V. So I can just use this. So I will save this as home. Then this will be as about. Then this will be as products or services. Then this will be for support. Then this will be for contacts. Okay, so I have my menu. Now if I go back and refresh, you can see the links. So they are now here. So the next thing is to make this a bit big and let them be at the center. So to do that, we first of all access the link. So these a tags are inside this link div. So I will come back and I will access the link div before I will have access to the a tag. So I'll say .link space a. Okay, then open my curly brackets. I will say text decoration. So the text decoration, I'll put it as none. Now the work of this text decoration is to remove these underlines. Okay, so if I refresh, you can see there are no more underlines. So I will also increase the font size. So I'll say font size, I can use 18 pt. Okay, so let's check. So you can see the font size is now a little bigger. So now the next thing is to put this at the center. Okay, so I can as well change the color to black. So I will say color, then color should go for black. Okay, so let's refresh. So you can see they are now black. So to make them at this, put them at the center, then I'll come over to the link div because that's where all of them are. Then I will say display flex. So display with the value of flex. Then align items. So the align items should go for center. Then justify content should go for space around. Okay, so space around. Now if I go back and refresh, you can see, wow, that's so lovely. Now these are clickable links that people can click and navigate to anywhere they want. Okay, now once we have gotten this, the next thing is to remove all this container color and we are good to go. So I will come from the orange, I'll put it as none. Then the red, which is the logo, I'll put it as none. Then the aqua, which is for the link, I'll put it as none. And we are good to go. And we have this. Wow. So if you want to learn programming or coding, it's very simple. Okay, so you can join our online classes or you can as well register in our office located at 52 NTA Paralink beside Eda Promise Close after Jesus Avenue. Okay, Port Harcourt. So you can help us like, share, subscribe to our channel. Also share this video to your friends. Okay, someone you know might be in need of this knowledge. Until we see in our next class, love you guys, take care.